DNA. For some of you, this might be DNA, but for me, this double helix of deoxyribonucleic acid was the reason why I used to hate biology in school. Having to remember long names and having to draw these kinds of diagrams was so horrible. But thankfully, in the last few years, I have realized that I don't have to do these anymore to pass an exam. And I realized that biology can actually be quite fascinating. In fact, biology, although it is a bona fide stream of science, it is much closer to history than it is to chemistry or physics. Because in physics, the law of gravitation is the same wherever you go in the universe. And in chemistry, every single carbon atom is the same wherever you go in the universe. But in biology, every single species that you see exists only on this planet and nowhere else in the entire universe. Every species that you see has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to be where it is right now. Now, if you see an alien that suddenly descends onto this planet, you will see that we usually show aliens dancing to their own rhythm with a different shade of green. But primarily they look very much human. But believe me, if an alien does land on this planet, they will look entirely different because the biology on that planet will define how they look. Now, you must have heard of the butterfly effect, right? A single event in history can have a deep impact on some other events. Similarly, in biology, a single event can wipe out an entire species because biology is driven by chance and not just because of some laws. Now, if you look at all the species that exist on this planet, why are human beings right there at the top? What makes us so special? To get the answer, we have to look deep down into our heart. No, not this nice little image of a heart, but this one of what a human heart really looks like. Again, I tell you why I hate biology so much. Isn't that horrible? But believe me, folks, the reason that we are truly unique is because of our bright brain. The brain makes us truly special. If you look at other animals like this bird or that goat, they have smaller brains. Is that why we are so special? But no, there are other animals on this planet that have bigger brains like this whale and the elephant. So why aren't they smarter than us? The answer is, for bigger bodies you need bigger brains. And so you should not look at the absolute brain size, you should look at the relative brain size. What is the size of the brain compared to the size of the body? And so on this chart you can see that men and dolphins are right there at the top. We are the smartest species on this planet. And believe me, dolphins are really much more smarter than they appear. I took a scan of my head to find out what my brain looks like, and this is what I saw. But the average size of a man's brain is actually 1.375 kgs. The average size of a woman's brain is 150 grams lesser. So are men smarter than women? Of course not. We have already established that women, because they weigh on an average lesser than men, are, well, you do the math. I don't want to tell it. Now, the fantastic thing about this is that even babies look so adorable because of their bigger head to body ratio. That is why we have this bias towards babies. And people in general have this long childhood. Human beings are the only species on this planet that have a very long childhood. If you look at some other species, in a year or two, they grow up, they learn everything there is to learn, and they are on their own. But human beings stay with their parents for a really long time because we are not just dependent on genetic information, we depend on extra genetic information. Human beings don't grow out of their childhood even after 20s or sometimes 30s. And these days, we have grown so much information within our brains that we are not just relying on extra genetic information, but on extra somatic information. Information that we store not just in our brains, but information that we store outside of our brains, outside of our bodies, which is especially books and these days the internet. But we are, all the species on this planet, very much alike. If you look at the brains, again biology, if you look at the brains, like this reptile as a snake, this pigeon, which is a bird, and this mammal, a cat, all of them have the same three parts of a brain. The hindbrain containing the medulla oblongata, the midbrain, and the forebrain. Now, the forebrain itself is consisting of three parts. In the human brain, you can see that there is a reptilian brain inside called the R complex. On top of that, there is this limbic system. Also, because like our limbs, they are peripheral to the core part of the brain. And on top of that, we have the neocortex, the part that we think is a driver of human thoughts and emotions. Now, the neocortex, again, if you look at it, it constitutes of about 85% of the human brain, and that again is what makes it so special. It contains all of the information that is responsible for what we think is specifically human, such as abstract thought, reasoning, and rationalizing. The neocortex contains about 86 billion neurons, the gray cells in our brains, and each of these has 1,000 or 10,000 synapses, which are like links or bits containing a 0 or 1 kind of information. So if you do the math, we actually have trillions of bits of information in our brain, and so no two human beings actually will have the same information. There are trillions of states in which a single human being can, and this brain of a single human being can be. And even with twins, both of them basically will not have even the same brains, although otherwise they look identically unique. Now, irrespective of what anyone tells you, each of us is actually special, rare, and unique. And if there is a human being who disagrees with you, let that person live, because in 100 billion galaxies from here, you will not find another human being. Over to you.